Hi everyone, this is Jack Stedman Rants, and I'm Jack Stedman. I'm going to be ranting about Trump and kind of how I felt about him during the campaign, going into the election, and how I feel now, and how that's kind of shifted a bit. So I guess during the campaign, I was in the camp uh, that thought he wasn't going to make it that far. He seemed to be too ridiculous. And I didn't really like him personally. So I just didn't see him getting that far. Um, Personally, I was hoping maybe like a Rubio or I don't know. There were a couple guys on the Republican side that seemed at least like regular human beings that you could kind of have a beer with that seemed normal, which you didn't really get on the left, and nor on a lot of the right. There was a lot of people running on the right, um, but at least one or two of them seemed normal enough. Um, and then it whittled down to just Trump and Clinton, and I knew I wasn't gonna vote for Clinton because even just on a baseline principle, I don't like having a president that has the same last name as a president we've already had, um, particularly if they are related. We had a second Bush, which still feels really weird, and was obviously, maybe not obviously, but it just seems suspicious. Um, and then to have another Clinton, I don't want to inch towards monarchy type things. I don't want, or oligarchy or whatever. I just feel like America should be able to come up with um, a president every 4 years that isn't related to previous presidents, and so we don't have to worry about anything shady. And it also just like speaks poorly of, at least, you know, it does. It speaks poorly of Americans. When Bush won, and if Clinton had won, um, that we just kind of vote on name recognition and that kind of thing, which, maybe that's also why Trump won. It's just name recognition, at least in some aspects or with some folks. But anyway, I was really not going to vote for Clinton because she was uh, so on the progressive side. She had been anti Grand Theft Auto back in the day, which, so I kind of just know that she's crazy and wrong. But also, the laundry list of things with her, all the money from big business and other countries coming into the Clinton Foundation, and just how she's kind of robotic, and how I didn't trust her at all, and she just seemed, ugh. Anyway, I don't need to get into that now because she lost, haha. um, so, so Trump, though, I was at least lukewarm about. I was very against Hillary and like okay with Trump. Um, I like his meme ability. I loved, he said some genuinely funny things that made me laugh during the campaign, during the debates. The "because you'd be in jail" line still cracks me up. Um, and the Access Hollywood tapes. Um, I I thought were kind of funny, like they were crass and whatever. But my here's why I was kind of lukewarm. Taking this as a case in point, um, my entire Facebook feed blew up about the Access Hollywood tapes and this idea that he was talking about sexual assault and how Trump just wants to, you know, grab women as he pleases, uh, which clearly I was. I'm pretty sure that that's not what he was talking about. I'm pretty sure that he was talking about consensual acts between, a gold digger type women who would let Trump grab him or grab them, and Trump. It was just mind blowing that they all went to this place where they were thinking he was just okay with sexual assault. Um, and so kind of from then on, I just didn't really trust any any criticism of Trump, at least without looking into it more, because they just the entire left, the mainstream media, but also just my Facebook feed, which is people I know, completely missed the mark. Um, and that's still happening now. Pretty much every time he tweets something outrageous, people will freak out. And it's not like his tweets are good. They tend to be not that true, even. Uh, and I would love it. I would love it if he would tell the truth more often, if he would maybe just tweet less, if he would be a little more calm, cool, and collected. But I understand that he isn't, and that he like lies and just like spews crap. And I kind of just know to not care about it, which is it's a bummer, but I just don't feel like his stupid tweets, like him claiming the wiretap claim or whatever, if that really affects anything, like if we can all just sit back and say, oh, it's BS, then it shouldn't really matter. It's kind of a bummer, but it's like nothing to pull your hair out over. And then, so yeah, I was kind of skeptical about anything that was negative about him. Not that I like thought he was, perfect or anything. I don't like him in a lot of ways, and I think he's boorish and if he was running against anyone else, I probably wouldn't have supported him in any way. But then he won. He won, and it felt sort of vindicating because so many people were saying Hillary was going to win. They were so pro Hillary, and it just drove me crazy. Hillary drove me crazy. So I was happy to see Trump win, just out of spite. It wasn't really I was happy Trump won. I was happy Hillary lost. But in my mind, Trump was the lesser of two evils because everyone hates him. The entire left and then segments of the right don't like him at all. And I knew that the Republican Party wouldn't necessarily just like fall in lockstep with him, and the Democrats obviously aren't working with him at all. So I figured with Clinton, more bad things would get done. She would be able to make things happen that I didn't want to happen. But with Trump, I figured he would be so opposed in a lot of things that that was kind of my like way of achieving somewhat limited government and kind of bringing down the power of the presidency a little bit, or my rationale for it. I think that has held to be true, and I'm the healthcare bill that he tried to get rammed through didn't happen, thankfully, because it was garbage. But then at the same time, it was also just that it was bad. It wasn't necessarily that they all hate him and were just like are going to limit him. But I don't know. I do prefer that anything he tries to do is going to get a lot of pushback, as opposed to Clinton in the White House. She may have been able to not have that as much. But then so he gets elected. Now he's president. He tries to ram through this healthcare bill. It doesn't work. He does this travel ban that I don't disagree with, for the most part. It was just rolled out poorly. It didn't have the right exceptions for green card holders and stuff like that. And it's just so sloppy. And I feel like everything he does is just like he's just trying to force it to happen as quick as possible. And he just wants to get things done, but he doesn't think about them at all. So I wish he would start being a little more measured and take a little more time thinking things through. So that's pretty worrisome, for the years ahead. I don't want everything he does to be crap and not actually happen. I would like, some good to come from this presidency. The other thing that makes me kind of anxious is how religious his cabinet ended up being, and how he really got a lot of like the right wing, like the religious right, nearby. Pence obviously is very religious, and I don't trust that he separates that from his work in politics and governance. And he just kind of seems like a wet noodle anyway. Like Pence just kind of weirds me out. Bannon, Bannon, he, like I read Breitbart sometimes. It's not like I am like not a little in tune with that side of things. It's not like I totally hate him for Breitbart. It's more it's that he I think wrote and directed, or maybe at least directed, a movie called Torchbearer, starring Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty, the dad from Duck Dynasty. The Bible Reloaded did a video on it, and it's just this ridiculous, you know, Catholic propaganda movie, and it just really makes me question his sanity, I guess. Not to say that religious people are insane, but just you'd have to see, like, go watch the trailer for Torchbearer and tell me that it doesn't seem a little unhinged. So that makes me really uncomfortable. I thought, Trump was kind of a Democrat in Republicans' clothing. So I thought maybe his cabinet wouldn't be as religious right as it ended up being. So that kind of weirds me out. So I don't know. I like him a lot less than I did going into his presidency. I'm excited for Gorsuch. I hope he, gets his seat, and that, gets locked down and happens. I do like, that's the one good thing, and it's a very, very good, long-lasting thing. So at least there's that. But everything else, man, it's crazy. And then, I don't even know where to start with like environmentalist type stuff. I don't want to claim to know anything about it really, but it does make me anxious. Yeah, yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm pretty conflicted with Trump currently. I'm not that happy with how it's been going so far, and I hope he can figure out how to do better, because, gosh, we need better. And that's, I think, all I'm going to say for now. Thanks for listening, and bye!